Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I have some new news concerning Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Now, I'm aware of a video I put up, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday or whatnot. And it was labeled Deontay Wilder, or we have no proof, right? And it was basically explaining what Deontay Wilder was talking about in the interview. Now, let me clear something up. People expect me to apologize. I won't apologize for something that was true. And let me explain to you. Let me clear some things up. This is what I'll do. First off, Deontay Wilder, I know what he was asked, and I heard the whole interview, okay? I heard it. It was a very informative interview. And the things that he said in that broke ground, okay? So I know he was talking about Povetkin at a certain point, okay? Now, that's where we're going to pick off at, because I want you guys, I'm going to go over it. I'm going to put subtitles for you guys so you guys can understand exactly what was asked to him and exactly how he replied, okay? I heard it the first time very well. So let me go back and retort. Now let's play it from the beginning where they start talking about the court case on both ends, on the Povetkin's court case and the Tyson Fury's, all right? Now here we go.
Any direction. You could have gone Andy Reese at the time. You could have gone anything. And then when it came to the third fight, he already was counting on his fight with Joshua. He announced it himself like 3 days before the arbitration. At what point did you know you're going to win the court case?
I mean, I was very confident in my legal team. I was very confident in the.
They shocked the world, by the way. Nobody expected it.
They did, because it was four white men against one black man. Come on, man. But I was very confident in my team that I had. I was very confident in the evidence that we had, and you know, everything, all the above, you know. So even just being up there in person, to feel the energy, to feel the atmosphere with the judge and everybody that deal with the court system, I felt very confident, you know, what I'm feeling and stuff. Because right is right at the end of the day, and I understand. Sometimes in the court system, you can have all the facts and the proof.
Now, you just heard him say he had all the evidence. He felt very confident. And he said sometimes you can have all the facts and all the proof. Okay, that's the last things he said. Now I'm going to continue.
I mean, look at me and Povetkin. I had the facts and the proof. And
I had the facts and the proof.
The judge ruled it in my favor, but weeks later or a month later, then we got a whole new judge, which I don't know how, and then he ruled it another way. But I know what went down in that. But just know, I know what happened in that situation. But at the end of the day, we have no proof. So
okay, so did you guys hear what Deontay said? First, he said we had all the facts and all the proof. Then he turned around and said, well, they got another judge. Okay. Then he says, well, we had no proof. So if either you had facts or you had the proof, or you had no facts or you had no proof. Which one was it? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the difference? I hope you guys caught that, because I sure as hell did. All right. Now, this is what Ellie said after that.
If you have no proof, they don't need to come out and like, hey, you did. I know what happened. And
you were in there. You've had 43 pro fights. You have 30 amateur fights. You're a medalist in the Olympics. You sparred everybody on the planet. You know.
Yeah, most definitely.
See, now the problem is, Ellie setback, okay? He had already said, well, you've been in there, you sparred these people, so you've been in there, you know what's up. So what did that have to do with Povetkin? So it seems like Ellie Setback was talking about something else, which he was. I know he was. You had 43 fights and this, that, and the other. Okay, you wasn't talking about shit that happened 5 years ago with 43 fights, because he didn't have 43 fights. 5 years ago. He might have had 36, right? Okay, and then matter of fact, 10 title defenses. So that's 5 years, right? So we have to take away, what, 43? So he had 30-some fight, like 33 fights. We got to get the facts straight, okay? Because that was 5 years ago when he was going to fight Povetkin. That was in 16 when he went to Russia. And then all that shit happened with all that. Now, I know they were using Povetkin as an example. But even with the Povetkin example, he said, hey, sometimes you can have all the facts and the proof and they still count against you. Let's listen to that again, okay? Because I want to be on the same page with everybody.
At the end of the day, and I understand sometimes in the court system, you can have all the facts and the proof.
You can have all the facts and the proof.
I mean, look at me and Povetkin.
Look at me and Povetkin.
And the judge ruled it in my favor, but weeks later or a month later, then we got a whole new judge, which I don't know how, and then he ruled it another way. But I know what went down in that. But just know, I know what happened in that situation. But at the end of the day, we have no proof. So
do you see the contradiction? He went from, hey, we had all the facts, we had all the proof. Then another judge came and ruled it another way, right? So, but then he said, hey, at the end of the day, if you have no facts or no proof, then it's no sense. Let you tell him.
If you have no proof, there ain't no need to come out and like, hey, I know what happened. And
You were in there. You've had 43 pro fights. You have 30 amateur fights. You're a medalist in the Olympics. You sparred everybody on the planet. You know.
yeah, most definitely.
See, that's the problem. Ellie Setback was talking about another issue. But the underlying issue, people, I want you to hear and understand. What I was referring to was Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder, when he went to that conference, and I'm going to do another video on this later concerning another individual concerning the same thing. When he went there, he said absolutely nothing about the things that he said he had. All the facts, all the proof, all the mountains of evidence that either he claimed or some channel that followed him to that extent claimed that he had, okay? But he had absolutely, positively said nothing. He had nothing to say about that. Maybe he's holding it for later on. Who knows? But at the end of the day, you would think after 16 months, after talking about a guy, after slandering a guy, after saying all that behind the guy's back, obviously by this point, at least what you could do is say that to the man's face. At least something. Because, see, Tyson Fury was ready for it. Anybody that talks more shit than Tyson Fury, you already know that he was ready for each and everything that came, and he never challenged him. Okay, so people talk about, man, he was talking about Povetkin. No, he was referring to that too, because either he was confused, if you guys can agree, either Deontay was confused or what the fuck he was talking about, or he couldn't get his facts straight. But I heard what he said. He said, we had the facts, we had the proof, but then we won that case. Then another judge came and ruled it another way. But then at the end of the day, if you don't have the facts or the proof, then it's no sense of sitting there and coming there when you don't have that. Like it was totally contradicting. Then Ellie Setback himself was like, well, you know, you've been in there, you sparred. Okay, what did that have to do with the Povetkin case? Povetkin's supposed to had banned substance in his system, right? And that was cleared up. Thank you for the people that helped me clear that up yesterday. Okay, because that was that was 5 years ago. And Deontay Wilder really wasn't talked about like Manny and all those other cats like we used to discuss in Hot Topics back in the yesteryear. But he's supposed to had a certain amount of whatever they just banned. Okay. When they tested him again, he had the same substance in, but it was a smaller, minute amount. That was the problem. That was the deal. Okay, so at the end of the day, that was the issue. So I don't see how Ellie Setback and what he was talking about related to what Wilder was talking about. Hey, you've had these fights. You've been in there. You sparred these guys. You had 43 fights. You know. Okay, you know what? I know he was sidelining because I know he's a Wilder fan and he doesn't like Tyson Fury because they have some type of religious dispute. I get that. That's Ellie, right? So you know he's going to side with Wilder in this situation because of that reason. But what he was talking about was totally confusing for what Wilder was talking about. Wilder used Povetkin as an example, which was a terrible example. But the whole thing about what you can't ignore is Deontay Wilder did not bring up anything that he's supposed to bring up with the mountains of evidence that he's supposed to have. And let me leave you with this, okay? Like he said, even if I had it, I can't prove it because I either have the evidence or I don't have it. So that's the confusing thing. So I couldn't answer that. Only Deontay Wilder could answer that. But I can just tell you what I heard, and it was total contradicting bullshit. So you guys make that as you will. We know he didn't say anything to Tyson Fury. We know he didn't mention anything to anybody concerning how he felt when Tyson Fury was there. Facts. If you have any problems with what I say, leave it in the comments. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.